show you this secondary right here. And when I'm done, I'm going to take a saw and saw out the leaf, the fly leaf, the little support, right in place. So there's our inside rail, outside rail, and here's our joint. And you know, I suppose there are several ways of cutting this out, but what I did was I just I drilled little holes in 2 or 3 corners. First I scribed it out on the actual piece, scribed out my drawer. Took a drill, drilled holes in the corners, put it on my scroll saw, sawed this out as close to the line as I could. Then we've got our end skirt. Now we have to clean up this to make room for a bead and clean it up so we can put our drawer back. Got a line scribed in, and then I've got some extra wood on the inside of my line, and I want a nice clean perimeter here. I mean, you could do it with a chisel, figure out which way the grain's going, and get in here and chisel to your line. You know, as close as you can. You might even be able to get a block plane in here.
A what?
You can get in here and clean this up. I also scribed it on the inside so that I can make sure this is relatively square. The trouble with planing it is you can really only plane a small section of it. Do it this way too. I like to do a lot of stuff this way from the top because as you're filing, you can see your line really clearly. It's that way you can just stay right on your line. Generally, I don't advise you to do this with one hand, but in this case, you can keep it pretty straight. Like that. And then when you get to the corners, you might want to switch to something square, like this big old nasty looking rasp that I really like because it really moves a lot of wood fast. So now I'll take this big guy and do the end grain. You could chisel it too, just put it on the bench. But you want to keep it on your line. And make sure you scribed a good line there. I actually used a pretty big knife line. So in a situation like this, you want to make a nice deep line so when you get there, you can see it. If anything, you probably want it to dip down inside. A good deep line there. It's like when you do dovetails, you want a decent sized line, so you can actually fit your chisel in it. Like right here, I'm not quite to that. So I'm just going to clean up one of these corners, 2 of these corners, and I'll show you how I make the beading. This is very hard mahogany. But, like I said, as you guys know, I like working wood by hand. I don't really like pushing stuff through machines. It's not my idea of a good time. And so unless I'm making, a dozen chairs or something, in which case I completely change the way I think. So this swings out, and these little mitered corners here, when they come together, they stop the swing of the piece. So it'll come out and stop there. So there's the pin, and here's the joint. So the way this works is that you lay out so that's this is what we're going to get, and this is what we're starting with, all right? I took a marking gauge and I set it for the thickness of my stock, like that. And then I made a scribe line here, which is going to be the size of my circle. And then I took a tri-square and I scribed out from corner to corner, which gives me the center of my circle. And then I took my dividers and I scribed out the circle like that. On both, you do everything on both ends. Anything really to get this away, but use this at a skew angle. Go till I hit my scribe lines, and that's why you want nice scribe lines that you can see. Of course, on this side there's no light, so I can't see a thing. And you round this stuff over.
And you don't worry about making that pretty.
Nope. Nope, doesn't have to be. Just has to.
Only the two outside ones.
Yep, the outside ones on the two knuckle side have to be good because they want to conform to the barrel of your hinge. So I'm just pairing from either side right. Can you get that on camera, Steve? Yep. So I'm pairing right to my little scribe lines from my marking gauge. And now I'm going to go in here and make sure it's nice and clean on the flats inside these knuckles too, because that's where they'll bind up on you. Hopefully by getting the outside you also get the inside, but you have to make a little bit of extra effort to clean the flats off because you'll tend to stay away from them. You've got to get them cleaned off down inside here too, because the barrel of the other knuckle is going to be inside there. Flip it over and I'll do the same thing from this side. So I can see a nice scribe line here, and I'm just pairing to that scribe line. Let's do the outside again. Gotta make sure the inside's nice and flat too. Like that.